Good evening, Nathan. How are you?
I'm good.
I'm Ruby Griffith. I am the sales manager for Scenic Weather Adapts. I appreciate you taking the time to be here with me today. So I'm here today in a response to your phone call about some of our products. I kind of want to learn a little bit more about you and your company and like some of the needs for your staff. I really want to figure out what it is you're looking for in terms of employee satisfaction and better work environment. So is it okay if I ask you a couple questions about that today?
Sure.
So a couple things first. I recently visited your company's website, and I noticed that you guys have around 5,000 employees company-wide, and you guys make about $25,000 in revenue per employee. Can you tell me what is driving those employees to perform and work for a company like Dayton Freight?
Dayton Freight does really well at they give their employees fair pay, and they really like to make sure that they're taking care of their employees. They do their best to make sure that they get what they need, and they give them a lot of flexible hours and things like that.
Okay. Do you mind if I take some notes during this?
That's fine.
Okay. So for how long has Dayton Freight been looking to expand their employee base?
I would say that they've been trying to expand just, ever since they started. They've been constantly opening up terminals as much as they were, able to, from their start in Dayton, Ohio, and they were definitely still continuing to try and expand.
Okay, so who would you say are your target employees? Like, what are you guys looking for?
We're really just looking for employees that are, open to new experiences, going to be responsible in what they do, and, hopefully able to help the company excel and maybe even move up in the company.
Okay, kind of like you did.
Yeah.
So what positions are you overlooking throughout your shifts?
Right now I just supervise the dock workers that are out handling our freight, making sure that our freight gets there on time, safely and effectively, and make sure that our customers' freight's definitely taken care of.
Okay, so you don't do the outbound shift. You only manage the inbound, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay, and that's the early morning shift.
Yes, that is very early in the morning.
Okay. What potential actions are you looking to take to help your employees' work situations improve?
It comes down to the elements of, just weather and things like that. That's the hardest part about it. It gets very cold in the winter and very hot in the summer, and it makes it very hard for our employees to deal with at times.
So what would you say is one of the, other than the weather, obviously, is there any other big things that your employees struggle with or you did when you worked on the docks?
Other than the weather, no. The work environment is not bad. If you can handle with the weather, it's pretty easy work. Enjoyable people to be around. I don't see another issue than just having to deal with the weather.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so tell me a little bit about your background with the company.
So I started as a dock worker myself, just driving a forklift or everything like that. And then I began to try and learn more about the company. I learned things about the yard moves. I learned about routing, dispatch, and the company kind of saw me trying to get that experience, and they decided that once I got the full experience that they needed, they decided to move me up to the inbound supervisor.
Okay. So since you've already moved up in the company, do you potentially want to grow to run your own service station?
I would say if the opportunity arises, I would definitely be willing to take that if the company felt that I had enough experience for that. If they asked me to, if they open up another terminal and asked me to take that on, I would definitely be willing to do that.
Yeah. Do you feel like you would have enough workers to take on in a new service station, with your current work situation and your guys' hiring?
I would say that Dayton Freight does well enough for their employees that they would have no issue wherever area they choose to move. They would have no issue finding employees to come to their company.
Okay. So I noticed on Google Finance, you guys tend to bring in about $3.5 million in revenue. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Are you looking to potentially grow beyond your main base of 13 Midwest states to expand on your guys' revenue a little bit? Because I know you guys are based in the same 13 states. You guys don't really go past that.
That's definitely above my job as of right now. I definitely am going to do whatever I can to help this company succeed. And I do know that there are talks of like them wanting to expand farther on. It's just a matter of building the terminals and getting the customers in that area.
Okay. So going back to like our product and how we talked about, working with weather and trying to find something to adapt to your workers, what would you say happened that caused you to be motivated to look for the resolution for this issue?
As a dock worker, originally, I kind of just got to the point where it's just like I felt like I was taking unnecessary breaks. At times, like it got bitter cold. It got into like the negative temperatures in the winter. Like it really doesn't make you want to go out and do your job as efficient as possible. So I really just thought of like, what could be the best way that we make sure our dock workers are working most efficiently.
Okay. So what, we're mostly talking about weather and your dock workers, but like for yourself, what are some of the biggest like behind the scenes struggles, you guys, if you're allowed to talk about that?
I'm really just worried about my dock workers. I've been there, I've seen how hard that's been. I sit in dispatch all day. I'm inside. I don't, I don't have the struggles like that. I definitely go out and try and help them as much as possible, but for the most part, I'm inside. I don't deal with the weather, and I'm sitting at a desk all day, which really isn't that hard, obviously.
Right.
So yeah, it's really just about optimizing, their efficiency and how their comfortability is.
So do you get like a lot of complaints from your dock workers, or do you just see them tough it out?
They tough it out for the most part. They do a very good job at what they do, but I do know that it is tough sometimes, and I do know it makes it hard for them. So it's not that they complain a lot. It's just I know that they could use a little bit more help.
Right. So how difficult would it be to expand the resolution of these issues other than like obviously your own inbound shift? Like, would you be able to help the outbound shift and all 56 other service stations? Like, what's your plan there?
I think that if this is something that we tried on the inbound shift and we decided it was a good solution, or it helped out our workers, we could definitely try it on the outbound shift. And there's something I would relay to my terminal manager. Hopefully, he would be able to relay it up to the chain and work our way up to the owners. And then by that point, the owners can, facilitate that out to our other service centers and say, hey, this is really working for our terminal. We need to get it out there to our other terminals as well because it's helping out our employees.
So, if you don't resolve this issue of having a service to make working conditions more bearable, what do you think will happen?
I personally don't feel that it'll hurt the company necessarily because they, like I said, they take very good care of their employees, and obviously they've done well for themselves without it. But I do think that it would help them in the long run in keeping employees around and setting them apart from their competitors and saying, we have this technology that's going to help you out, and I think it's going to make more people want to come to Dayton Freight.
Okay. So are you worried that creating a better work environment will be costly as far as like your guys' general budget goes per employee?
Like I said, in the long run, I think it could help the company just because at first it may be a very upfront charge. But if it's enough to make our employees work more efficiently and make them more comfortable and make them want to stay around more and work harder, I think at the end of the day, it's going to be a good decision.
So, if you could have it your way, what would this resolution look like?
Biggest thing is just the comfortability.
Okay.
If the guys are not sweating like crazy in the summer and they're not freezing their butts off in the winter, not having to take those unnecessary breaks and hang out in the break room just to avoid it or anything like that, I think that would just be the best solution. As long as they're comfortable, it's going to be the best.
Okay. How would you feel if we were able to provide you with all of these services you are needing?
I would say that's definitely something we would want to look into, and it may be above where my job is at, but I would definitely like to start the ball rolling with it, and then maybe I could contact my terminal manager and see what he would like to do about it, see if he thinks it's a good idea.
Right. Okay, so based on your responses, is it fair to say that you would be interested in a product with weather permitting, like that helped with weather permitting work situations?
Yeah, I think we'd be very interested in, like you said, if it is something that is doable and something that's going to better our efficiency in our work environment, I do think that's something we'd be interested in.
Okay. Is it accurate that your first priority when considering your employees is comfort in the workplace?
Yeah. Like I said, I fully feel that if our employees are more comfortable, they're going to want to work harder for us, and they're going to be more efficient in what they do. You know, sometimes they may not feel like restacking or recouping freight just because, you know, it's too hot. They don't feel like breaking the sweat or something like that. If they're more comfortable, then they definitely would want to restack that freight, and then it gets to our customers looking better, being nicer, and being taken care of.
So, okay, so if I can convince you that our product accurately adapts to create comfort for body temperature and like the surrounding temperatures, would that be important to you?
Definitely. Like you said, the weather is the biggest issue. I mean, really one of the only issues on the dock. If it's something that would help take care of our employees and make sure that they aren't overheating and or freezing in the winter, you know, then it's definitely something we would be willing to take a look at to take care of our employees.
Okay. Awesome. So I want to thank you for meeting here with me today to assess like your needs to create better work environments for your employees. So it was really nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Thank you.
Yeah.